Welcome back everyone to Welstopia, and today we are going to have a tour of the Temple of Elemental Pine first dungeon level. That's right, it is complete as far as I can tell. So we're going to go all the way through here and see what I have done and do a final spot check to make sure there isn't anything that I missed in relation to how this compares to the old Temple of Elemental Evil module. Now I should note that there are some intentional changes and I don't have everything furnished, but I should have all of the rooms that I intend to implement here. Now up here, that is the entrance into the upper temple, and I should note that I did move the entryway because at some point when I was calculating where everything should be, I did a major miscalculation. In the original module, the stairs are there, and then same thing on the other end. I was quite a bit short relative to what I needed, so therefore I decided to come in here. Now this replaced the armories, which means that the four armories, the two on this side and two on the other side, are not implemented in my dungeon because there was no room for them. I put the stairs there instead. So therefore, I had to do something else, is where I was going to place my various arms and equipment in there. Now I'm going to go through this using the right hand rule, meaning that whenever possible I'll turn right. There will be occasions where I'll do something slightly different if the theme is all in that area. So let's head on. And first thing I should note is that on the first level I am using spruce in the center and polished andesite above and below. And this is just going to be for the first level. Now what I'm going to do all the way through the dungeon though is have prismarine on the ceiling with sea lanterns, and then on the bottom I will use the nether brick and the stone brick. Now at this intersection we come to the first major room of the dungeon. Now this is the pillared room in the original module, and what I did originally was to set up trees all through here. You may remember there being trees up here, and I didn't like it. It was just leaves all over the place. It was completely out of control, and it was difficult to reach this room here. So I decided to turn this into my dye works, and to do that I created in this room the pillars of jungle wood, and below that I have the cocoa beans put onto here, and therefore this is where I get my brown dye. Now over here I have cactus, a little furnace here in order to cook the cactus and turn that into green dye. And over here I have the four double flowers so that I can get red, yellow, magenta, and whatever the fourth one is. So I can get those four colors pretty easily just by using a little bit of bone meal. Then over in the final room I have double chests of each of the dyes. Now the quickest one, of course, start getting filled up is the bone meal here, because I have that skeleton spawner and that is producing some nice amounts of bones. Therefore I've got bone meal, so I could use this to create bone blocks. I could use it to create bone meal so that I can either use it as dye or use it in order to get a few extra of these. Alright, there we go. And that'll help me in getting all of that up. Actually, this, I guess I just, yeah, dandelion yellow, pink, oh yes, pink, that's the fourth one, red, and I will presume I left the other one on the floor because I was too full. Ah, typical. Well, then I'll just throw the bone meal back in. And what I did is I decided to use signs here, and the signs then would be able to help me on this. Now, I decided to do the signs in the same order that they are listed at the site, going by their ID number. So therefore 0 is black and 15 is bone meal, which is white. So where is pink in here? Ah, there's pink. There you go. And I should have... Yeah, there it is. I thought there was something missing there. And magenta. So therefore these are my die works, which has all of the dies that I could possibly ever need. I think I've been able to generate everything. The toughest one for me to get right now would be the black, because in order to get the black, I am going to have to fish up some squid. I haven't done much squid farming. I really can't create a squid farm in this area. What's an Enderman doing here? Enderman. Whew. Well, that was... Don't know if he dropped a pearl or not, since I have a full stack now, whether I had 15 and went to 16, or had 15 to begin with, I'm not sure. Alright, I'm going down up here then, and in this next section, this is in the original module. We had a hexagonal room followed by a larger circle room followed by a smaller circle room, and obviously that doesn't work too well in Minecraft. And what I decided to do, since we had these 3 rooms in quick succession, I decided to turn these into a pumpkin pie factory. So therefore I create my pumpkins over here. So I have a little pumpkin farm, and then some sugar cane. And this generally gives me 18 pumpkins when I farm all these. And this gives me some amount, 36 sugar I think I get after, if I go in the second level here. And then I moved my chicken farm down to here, because I used to have that upstairs. I moved that down here. I got 4 separate ones, and that gives me plenty of eggs. So whenever I need to get pumpkin pie, just farm each of those 3 and make myself 16 new pies, and I add that to my inventory. So therefore, that's my nice area for pumpkin pie. You can see I'm doing some twists to what some of these rooms used to be in the original module. Sometimes I do it close to what they were, and sometimes I'm almost parroting the whole thing, like turning this into a pumpkin pie area, because I'm sure that's not what the original intentions were, especially since the first room was filled with gargoyles and the like. Now, these are the crypts, and what I decided to use here were stone slabs for the floor, so I wouldn't need to light this, because now I had this dark and moody area, but spawn proof, because you don't have anything spawning up on the slabs over here. So that's what I decided to do on that matter, give it a nice dark area for the crypts. Now over here we had a meditation room for the Earth Temple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a storage area for stone. I'm just getting started on getting stuff, because originally I had the stuff way down at my primary storage area. So I'm going to slowly move all that stuff over here and have a wall full of stone and cobblestone and the like. And that way I'll have a plentiful supply of that where I could store it. And over here, I decided that I'm going to have this as a textile storage area. So therefore I have this wool because I'm getting large amounts of wool from all that I am doing with that spider farm that I built 2 episodes ago. So therefore that helped me. I'll get a large amount of wool, then probably also have a place for banners and the like so that I can keep it someplace because I was starting to overflow in what I had for wool. So that's good on that matter. And that leads us into here, which is the outer corridor from the Earth Temple, which is why the banners, which are normally this 4-element motif with the brown for the earth, red for fire, white for air, and green for water, switches over to this one with the brown pyramid, which represents earth, which is why we have a pyramid, I guess, in the middle there, though what I decided to do here is based on what the original module says. Now, it doesn't say anything about the ceiling, but it said that you have the limestone walls over there. Now, I said dirt for the floor, and what I decided here is just let it become grass and to turn this into pasture. Alright, maybe they like to sacrifice cattle every once in a while. And therefore we have this pyramid mound in the middle with the stone up there. So that's based on the descriptions in the original module. No, the cattle aren't. What they had in the original module were earth elementals. I was considering iron golems for this, but in the end I decided to leave that out and have the cattle there instead. Now down here is an unfinished area. You can see here it's secreted away so it's difficult to see, and this is not considered an official part of the dungeon. But down here I have my spider farm, which I built 2 episodes ago, so therefore I just have that as an AFK spot, and I go downstairs, collect all the string that I get for it. And that's a fairly straightforward spider farm, which I think has a pretty nice output. And I would say that overnight it gives me about a chest if I'm able to go the entire night without crashing out. Now down here is my skeleton spawner. Also you see unfinished. I need to pretty it up at some point. I'm most likely going to have a connection to this to the second level and pretty it up as part of the second level stuff, which is what I'm going to be doing for the second quarter. No, yet. These things look like Christmas presents right now because I'm recording this on Christmas Eve, but you can see there I just have skeletons dropped there. I killed them, and this is my XP farm. And that was done in the last episode. And the XP farm is probably the longest thing that I went without because they used to, if I wanted to get XP, I went to a skeleton farm that was way at the base. More recently I've been using a blaze farm for this. And it wasn't until today where I finally got around to getting enough diamonds. I finally had enough diamonds so I could go and finally get Sweeping Edge, because Sweeping Edge really makes using farms a lot more efficient, I have to say that. But I've been using blaze farms is what I've been using mostly, and when I need blaze stuff I will go out there. But that one is a quick and easy one to get to now. So therefore I'll use that as my primary source of XP. Now what I'm showing here is I managed to find a double cave spider spawners. So I've got one up there and one up there. Yeah, I know it's virtually impossible to see because of course they are in the dark. If I go slightly up, I think if I go up a little bit I am able to actually start activating them. But anyway, It's a double spawner in there, and it's able to create twice as much string as the regular spawner that I have, since I have two of them. And on here, of course, is my cart going all around collecting stuff as we go through it. And that's doing pretty good in it, and in other words, twice as much in there for the time. But I'm not in desperate need of the string at the moment, so therefore I don't think it's going to be too often I'm going to come here, because you see it's a really long trip through this abandoned mine shaft here. And I think it's just a lot more convenient to go to the regular one. If I'm going to want large numbers, yes, of course, I'll come here because that will give them to me. But the extra drop rate I don't think is going to be worth coming here all that amount of time, because you can see this is really quite a lot to get through here. And if I do decide to come here more often, then I think I will make a better passageway through it, because right now it's not exactly the safest passage through here. It's possible that I'll find a more convenient way through here when I do the second or the third level of the dungeon, because I think the third level of the dungeon would be a nice place in which to work on it. Now, here we come to the next area here. And here are the cells. And yes, this is something that is out of the original dungeon. There was a room down here that led into a trap. Its entire purpose was to be a trap. And I decided we really don't need that trap here. So I just dumped that. Actually, I might as well just... And that's just a small room that's not going to be much to worry about. So I decided to delete that trap from this. And I just went back and forth here on these various cells, which are empty. There isn't much on there. I guess I could have tried to attract a zombie, maybe tag it or something like that, put them in there. That's something maybe to consider later on, but I decided not to worry about doing that. You can see in the cells, I decided to take off the wood motif, just went to regular stone in there, since I figure the wood might be a weakness they'll try to exploit to escape, so therefore I just use stone in there, especially since anything in this larger set of cells is probably big, and therefore not something that you want to go around and give it an easy way to escape. And this goes all the way down here. I know this is a quick left here, but I'm just showing that that goes back to the corridor down there. And that's the first half of the dungeon. Now we'll return for another episode there for part 2. This episode right here I'm hoping will be released on Christmas Day, and so therefore part 2 will be released on Boxing Day, where I'll show the rest of the dungeon level. But that'll be in the next episode of Piney Plays Minecraft Welstopia.